Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Zimbabwe is a failed state. How anyone can dispute that beggars belief. But I think one of the reasons why we are a failed state is that some people are refusing to face reality. The late Eddison Zvobgo gave an explanation why we are a failed state. In one of his interviews, he talked about the Mozambique syndrome. And when he explained it, he said that when they were in Mozambique before independence, they were having a discussion within the party leadership. If they lose the argument, he explained, they will accuse you of being a CIO to avoid the substantive issues. He was right. That has become a good bolt hole for some people. The nation has never been able to discuss any substantive issues. Zanu PF leadership has stifled meaningful debate and democratic discourse. And one of the ways of doing it is accusing those who dare raise pertinent issues on a discussion, accuse them of being puppets, of being disloyal to the party, disunity, everything they're thrown at you. The latest one, of course, is calling anyone who dares criticize or even admit that Zanu PF or the country is going in the wrong direction. They're accused of being unpatriotic. They'll never address the substantive issues. This, unfortunately, has not helped the country, because instead of learning from the past, learning from our mistakes, we have dared point out anything going wrong for fear of being accused of being a puppet or unpatriotic. And so we've all been forced into this straitjacket where there's no meaningful debate, democratic discourse. And so we have repeated the same mistake over and over again. And the nation has paid dearly for it. Of course, we are a failed state because we have stifled meaningful debate. Recently, I had an article and instead of having some meaningful debate on the issues raised, this was a video criticizing Chris Mnangagwa's praise that Starlink is now in Zimbabwe and the contract has been signed with the government. I raised a number of substantive issues, one of which is, why is government getting involved in matters that could be controlled by the private sector? How many parastatals in Zimbabwe have now become a burden to the nation because of government interference. Talk of ZESA, NRZ, the list is endless. And so is this Starlink new company then with Starlink going to be another parastatal? And most important substantive issue I raised was that Mnangagwa has got his dirty fingers in every pie. Freedom of expression and the free media are a prerequisite to a healthy and functioning democracy. Is Mnangagwa signing the contract for the Starlink in the interest of the country? Because we know that there's no free media already in Zimbabwe. And we know he has been trying to control the social media. And now having the total monopoly over the only significant service provider in the country will only give him even greater access to the control of what the people can say on the media. This cannot be healthy for the country. Those, to me, were substantive issues. But instead of addressing those substantive issues, I've been called Mtenges. I've been called being accused of not being patriotic to the country. I think this is the sort of foolishness. Yes, it is foolishness, because it has only allowed Zanu PF to do as it pleases. Zimbabwe is a failed state, and we are now being asked to bury our heads in the ground in praise of the regime. This is a video clip that was sent in reply to my issues on Starlink. Mtenges, how naive. This is the Mozambique syndrome at its worst. Zimbabwe is a failed state. We are not going to get out of this mess by burying our heads and being allowed ourselves to be brainwashed to the point where we do not even have the courage to say something is wrong, even when we can see it with our own eyes that it is wrong. You dare not speak about Zanu PF rigging elections, Mtenges. You dare not speak about corruption, rampant as it is. You and Mtenges. You dare not speak about the failed state that has left 49% of our people living in abject poverty, without water, clean running water, without even basic services like education and health care. any criticism of the regime, you now risk of being accused of being unpatriotic. And for that, you could land yourself in jail or worse. The regime has not always used the jail, the prison, to punish those who break the law. It is a law unto itself. You will disappear. If you're a foreigner, of course, if you speak of these potholes in the roads, power shortages, you'll be accused of reporting fake news and to be harassed by the regime. And yet these things are there. Zanu PF rigged the elections. Mnangagwa rigged last year's elections. SADC, the AU, they too have said the elections were not free, fair, and credible. And for Pete's sake, we did not need SADC to tell us that the elections were not free, fair, and credible when we have failed to produce even something as basic as a verified voters' roll. I think if there was ever a time when the people of Zimbabwe really have got to open their eyes and say enough is enough to this nonsense, that we cannot even have a meaningful debate on what is going wrong for fear of being labeled a traitor, unpatriotic. That is the most ridiculous situation we are in. Zimbabwe is a failed state. That is a historic fact. If that is unpatriotic, then I don't want to be patriotic. Thank you and have a good day.